You are listening to the In Between Sales Calls podcast with Derek Shebby, episode 62. Welcome, everyone. When I got into sales, the big draw for me was the ability to control my own income. I remember that. And coming out of college, getting into a $60,000 to $80,000 a year job seemed like it was going to be challenging unless I put my own career in my own destiny and went into sales. So that's what I was going for. And while I was at my first company, which was a Xerox company in that industry, the top reps were making anywhere between $100,000 to $200,000 a year. And I like that. That's a good number. I don't know for you, when you're listening to this, wherever you are in the world, if that's a good amount for you to make per year, $100,000 to $200,000 a year. For me, that was just a monster amount. And for the longest time, I would always go back and I'd tell the other reps and the other salespeople saying, "Hey, if you're the top rep in your company, you can make between $100,000 to $200,000 a year." And I knew what that felt like because I was the top rep. So I was making that kind of money. Now, years later, it wasn't until I met the Income Outliers that I realized I was undershooting my potential and how much I actually could make in this industry. And I'm sure even in your industry that you're in too today. I was at an event with many other sales leaders in my industry. And I remember meeting a president of a company in Florida. And he had told me, he said, "No, Derek, my top rep, he doesn't make $100,000 to $200,000 a year. He makes over $700,000 a year." And I said, "What did you say?" He goes, "Yeah, he makes over $700,000 a year." So I asked him, I said, "Well, is that just like last year?" And he said, No, every year." And I said, "Well, does he have like some major accounts, some big customers that keep ordering from him?" And he said, "No, he sells, 18 to 25 deals a month," which, by the way, to me, on the side note, was a lot. I mean, if you're selling close to 10 deals a month and they're good deals, then you're busy. But this rep that he had in the same industry as our teams, he was doing 18 to 25 deals a month and making consistently over $700,000 a year. I couldn't believe it. It was wild to me. And by the way, the territory that this guy was in was Miami. So Miami isn't exactly a booming, huge area where you can go and make tons of money. It doesn't even come across. You don't think I'm going to go move to Miami because the opportunity is just huge for sales. It's not necessarily what you think. I mean, our companies were in California. We're in the biggest markets in the nation. If you think about Los Angeles, or San Francisco or the Silicon Valley, where you got Apple and Google and all these big, huge, mega organizations, those were our territories. And we didn't have any reps making $700,000 a year plus. Yet this rep I'm just learning about is in Miami, and he's making that kind of money. So I asked this president, I said, "Hey, do you mind if I give him a call? Is that okay?" And he said, "Sure, give him a call, Derek, go for it." And I remember he gives me the guy's number, and I call him up, and I'm just going to call him Mike, just for the sake of keeping it simple on this. So I call up Mike, and I say, "Hey, Mike, we haven't met before, but your president said it was okay that I called you, and he told me that you actually make $700,000 a year." And so Mike pauses and he goes, "He said that?" And I said, "Yeah, I know it's awkward, it seems weird and everything, but that's a really good thing. It's really motivating. I just want to talk to you about it." He goes, "Okay, well, if he told you that you could talk to me, then what do you want to know?" And I said, "Well, is it true? Are you really making over $700,000 a year in this industry? Is that really the truth? Just tell me straight up." And he goes, "Yeah, that's what I'm doing." I'm like, "Was that like every year? Or is that just this last year?" And he goes, "No, every year I do that." And I said, "Well, same sort of questions. Do you have some major accounts that keep buying from you, like big accounts?" And he says, "No." I said, "Well, what's going on here? How much new business are you writing?" He goes, "Well, I'm writing about 40% of my deals are new business." Like, "Oh, okay. So if you're doing 20 deals a month, that means like 8 to 10 deals a month are, some at least 8 deals a month are new business, right? He goes, yeah, that's probably something like that. I said, no way. Come on, man. I don't believe you. And he said, no, seriously, Derek, that's what I do. And I said, well, I mean, do you have a family? And he goes, yeah, I got a family. And he's like, I have 2 boys and I'm the head coach for their traveling baseball teams. And for those of you listening in, a traveling baseball team, I mean, you practice like 4 days a week. I mean, 4 days a week per team. And he's the head coach. And then every weekend, Saturday and Sunday, you have games. It's no joke, and it's year round. So if he's the head coach for both of his sons' traveling baseball teams, in my mind, I'm immediately going to the fact that he's incredibly busy. How can he possibly sell between 18 to 25 deals a month? How could that even happen? And so I started talking to him about that. It became the first of many conversations that we had. And I'm actually planning on writing a book down the road about our conversations and about those things. But I think what's more critical here, what's more important is that I started taking things that I learned from him and applying it to people that I was working with and helping them have those same sort of outlier type results. And a couple things that I learned from that, I'll let you guys know here. The number one thing that I learned from him, the number one, there's more than that, is that he had this commitment to excellence, a commitment to excellence. What do I mean by that? Well, when I started at my company, I thought back then that I was only going to be there for a couple of years. I don't know about you. If you're listening to this right now and secretly you know that you only plan on being at your company for a couple of years because you're using it as a stepping stone to go to pharmaceutical sales or medical supplies or something like that, you just be honest with me. Just say right now, wherever you are, that's what I was thinking. Well, that's what I felt. So I was never planning on staying at my company for longer than 2 years. I was planning on jumping and going to the next step and to a different industry. But, obviously, spoiler alert, I ended up staying in the same industry for 17 years and still helping it today. But what this guy was doing different, what Mike was doing different, is he never saw himself going anywhere. He committed to excellence. He committed to that success when he started. And he looked at things and he said, the things that I'm doing today may not help me tomorrow, but I know that they'll help me in a year from now or 2 years from now. And he made choices of things that he did today, regardless of what would happen, because he knew that it would be a good thing for him to do long term. And you only make those kind of decisions when you're fully committed, when you go all in and you say, you burn the boats, right? You say, this is what I'm going to do. This is the last place I'm going to work. I'm going to become an income outlier here. I'm going to make more money than anyone has ever made in this industry. And I'm going to do it right here at this company, right where I am today. And that's what he did. Me, if you contrast our careers together, at the same time, we both were top reps. I ended up moving into management and ended up developing people and helping our teams over the years and helping us grow, obviously, up to 120 sales reps in California. He just stayed in his own territory. He just stayed in one place. And he said, yeah, you guys can do all that kind of stuff. I'm just going to stay right here and just be amazing. I'm going to commit to excellence. So I kept trying to pick his brain to see some of the big secrets that he could tell me about how to be successful like he was, to become an income outlier, to make 4, 5 times more than everyone else makes in the industry. And he was very humble about everything. This is the second thing that he told me, the second big thing. So something to write down. He said, Derek, I'm just in the right place at the right time with the right message. That's what he'd say. I'm like, really? He goes, yeah, that's really what I do. And I've just made, I decided to be that in the beginning. And I made decisions every single day so I could be at the right place at the right time with the right message. Anyway, so I asked him about that. I started talking about, what does it mean to be somewhere at the right place? What does that mean? Because, of course, I would love to make that kind of money if I was a salesperson. And I know a lot of people that I work with would like to too. So, what is that? What does it mean to be at the right place? And that sparked many, many conversations. But let me give you a couple of the highlights. When you're working with a company at the right place, if you're working with anybody at the right place, that comes down to, are you really working with a company that is a good opportunity for you or not? And you need to figure out what that is for you. You need to figure out what that is for your industry, and you need to figure out what that is for your pocketbook. Sometimes we call that as being qualified, right? Is it a good qualified account? I work with countless salespeople that one of the first things I have to tell them is I say, you've got to stop working on all of these small opportunities. Got to stop it. Stop working on those small opportunities. And they tell me, oh, Derek, but that's all there is around here. This is what all these accounts are like. Well, I'm calling BS right now. It's no different than it is for you as it was for us in all these major markets in California. No different. But it's still part of your job as being an amazing salesperson, as being an outlier type salesperson, is to be great at qualifying opportunities. You need to figure out which companies are the best fit for your services. Which ones are your sweet spot? You should know that. You got to be great at figuring out what are the right places for you to sell to. And that might take you years to really map out all the good opportunities. And no, Zoom Info and Seamless and all those other things can't tell you. You need to figure it out. You need to go see it with your own eyes and to see, is this really a good opportunity for me? Ultimately, the way that I used to always help people figure this out is this. If you could sell all your services to this one account and let's just say it's just on a low end, how much money could you make there? How much money? You should think about that. What is that number, right? But you've got to get great at qualifying. And this isn't just a trivial thing. This matters. Qualify like you're doing this for the long run, like you're committing to excellence, like you're committing to getting in front of all of these great opportunities, every month. The second thing he mentioned, like I said before, is you got to be at the right place at the right time. That's sometimes a little bit more challenging to figure out. What is the right time to be somewhere? Well, what you'll find in your industry, whatever it is that you're selling today, is the things that people are buying, there's a shelf life for it. Every few years, they might need a new one, or maybe there's a contract involved, service contract, a lease contract, some sort of contract that could expire. Well, when those things expire, when those things happen, the window opens up. And that window is the time where someone would actually be open to looking at something new, right? Well, Mike was a master at being there at the right time. And so that means he knew when the right time was for all the accounts he was going after. How else could he close 2 times the amount of opportunities that we were every single month on our best month? How else? Well, it's because he just knew where they were. He knew everyone that was expiring, everyone that was in the market, everyone that was ready to buy. He knew it. And he was involved and he was in front of them. The last thing that I mentioned, the right place, the right time, with the right message. What does that mean? Well, with the right message has a lot to do with being relevant, right? Being relevant. What can you tell the customer that shows you know their business, that you understand them? You're just not just another salesperson. You're the right person for them. Your message says a lot about who you are and how you can help. But your message, having the right message, also means being able to say the right message to the right person over there, right? Who are you giving that message to? Do you know the right people to contact? Do you know what matters to them? You know what their goals are? You know what their initiatives are? Do you know also how you can best help them? Well, he knew that too. He knew all about how to have the right message when he was contacting these customers, which also helps to close deals in our time frame versus theirs sometimes. Well, there's a match, right? also helping them close 18 to 25 deals a month. So be at the right place at the right time with the right message. That's one of the things that he told me. Obviously, those were some of the beginning things that he told me, but he had this commitment to excellence from day one at his job. He always believed he would be there for his whole career. Do you? Do you? Or are you thinking that you're going to be making better money somewhere else at another company? I'm here to tell you that what if you just went all in? What if you said, you know what? I'm just going to commit to excellence like Mike did. And I'm just going to say, I'm going to show everyone how much you can make in this industry. And I'm going to be one of those income outliers that people talk about or they whisper about. Did you know there's someone over there that makes this much money? Yeah, it's weird to say. It's weird to even think about. But that's why they're an outlier, because it's beyond what's normal. So I'm sure you've heard in the last part of my videos, I've been talking about how I started a membership, started a community. And I work with a lot of people on a weekly basis. And I'm sure you've seen that too, me comment on these things on LinkedIn and post the successes that we're having. But I want you guys to know that this community specifically is all about becoming an income outlier. I mean, that's a big deal. You could be a top performer, sure. But the top performers are making 100 to 200,000 a year. The income outliers are the ones that are doubling that, tripling that, 4Xing that, like Mike. And they're making it every single month and every single year, not just this one time. There's something that they do differently. And I figured that out. And I've been working with a lot of salespeople on how to get there too. But to help the most people, I want to help you. And that's what I have my membership for. So there's 3 parts to it. The first part is you get coaching from me. So we meet over Zoom. There's a group of people that we work with, that we help. And we meet over Zoom. I do coaching with them, personal, I'm actually helping them with sales. But I also have office hours, a couple times a month. So you can drop in and you can ask me, you can bring up whatever's going on in your sales career, deals you're working on, just other additional assistance. I want to be there for you. The second thing that we do inside of my membership, called Outliers, is we have best practices. So once a month, I get everyone together and we talk about things that are working right now, ways to break into new business, right? Ways to deliver more value, ways to get more in front of people at the right place, at the right time, with the right message, right? All of the things that are needed to become that sales, unicorn with exceptional results, right? So that's the second thing that I do. The first thing, obviously, you said, is coaching. Second thing I do is I have best practices. That's a best practice call. It's once a month. And I save all the past episodes so you can go back and watch them. But the third thing I have is you get access to all my courses. Now, I'm sure you've seen my courses on Modern Sales Academy. And there's a lot in there. There's over 30 hours worth of content, all designed about how to become that income outlier. And you get all that in the membership. So I know I mentioned before, it's modernsalestraining.com/outliers. But I'm serious about 2023. And I want to know if you are too. If you're ready to commit to this year to being exceptional and not just being, great, right? 1 to 200,000, but you want it to be exceptional. I want you to know that I want to be there with you. I want to help you every step of the way. So give me a chance. Let's go to it. Let's commit to it together and come join my membership. So overall, things I want to talk to you guys about today that we've covered is there's this other type of salesperson that makes stupid money. And it's beyond the top performers that are out there. And it took me 12 years into my career to even validate that they're real. I could tell you for a fact they're real. And the things that they're doing are just little tweaks, little things that are different than the majority, but I want to commit with you to helping you become that sales unicorn, that income outlier in your industry. So hope you join me inside of my sales community. Thank you for allowing me to join you on your sales journey. See you next time. Hey, if you enjoy listening to this podcast and you're a B2B salesperson looking for extraordinary results, you have to check out my Outliers community. It's my monthly coaching program where we build the skills and habits needed to take your sales results far beyond your peers and out to where the highest income earners are in your industry, or as I call them, the Outliers. Join me in the Outliers community at www.modernSalesTraining.com/outliers. Make sure you type modernSalesTraining.com/OUTLIERS. I'd love to have you join me in my Outliers community. See you there.